Welcome to the SQL Server Common Table Expressions series. My name is Steve Stedman, and today we're going to cover writing your first CTE. For more information, you can always visit my website at stevestedman.com or follow me on Twitter as SQLEMT. And there's also a book on common table expressions available at amazon.com and at joestopros.com. This is the CTE book that I wrote. It was published in May of 2013. It's available in the paperback and Kindle versions. So to get started with, availability of common table expressions. This is a Transact SQL feature that I wish I'd learned about 8 years ago, as CTEs were first introduced in SQL Server 2005. CTEs are supported on all versions of SQL Server since 2005 and all variations of SQL Server, including the Standard, Enterprise, Express, and they're also available on SQL Azure. For the CTE syntax, the thing you need to keep in mind is that the queries, they all start with the with statement, not the select. Now, one of the things I do is that I always put the semicolon in front of the with statement, just to be sure that the previous statement has been terminated. But with CTEs, the previous statement must always be correctly terminated. CTEs can be confusing if you're assuming that any query to select data would start with the select statement. CTEs, they just seem a little bit weird when you first use them until you master the syntax. The basic syntax of a CTE starts with the with statement. Following that, there's an expression name. Now this is the name of the CTE. Usually I'll name it something descriptive with the 3 letters CTE tagged on the end of it to avoid any confusion with existing table names. You then have the optional column name list where you're specifying what columns are going to be returned from the CTE. The keyword as separates the CTE definition from the actual CTE query itself. Here inside of parentheses you have a CTE query definition, and then you can run that CTE simply by selecting a number of columns from the CTE name that was set up originally. Here's an example. Here we're going to write a CTE that queries the departments table. So I started out with the with statement, named the CTE department CTE. I've defined 3 columns that are going to be returned from that CTE. First is the ID, second is the department, and third is the parent. I use the as statement, and then inside of parentheses I write a query to select those things from the departments table. Once that's done, I can run the CTE by selecting everything from departments CTE. Let's jump into the demo to take a look at this. The first thing we're going to do is visit stevestedman.com, my website, and download the database samples to be able to use for the common table expressions queries. Go down the bottom, and I'm just going to click on the CTE demo database reset.txt, which loads it into the browser. I'm going to hit Control A to select it all, hit Control C to copy it, and then I switch over to SQL Server where I already have a connection open to my local database. Open a new query window, paste in the create script, and run it. That set up the CTE demo database right here, and you can see there's the tables. The next thing we're going to do, open a new query window. I'm going to use the CTE demo database, follow that with a go statement, and I just want to take a look at what's in the departments table. So I'm just going to say select star from departments. When you run that, you can see that there's 17 rows there describing a number of departments for a possible store. Top level, the parent is set to null, and you can see that the top level departments are camping, cycle, snow sports, and fitness. And then below that, a number of other subcategories. Next, let's take a look at how we would put that into a CTE. You start out with a semicolon and the word with. Follow that by the name of the CTE, departments CTE, and then we'll add in the optional columns. Start with ID, department, and parent. Next, we use the as keyword and a set of parentheses to delineate our CTE query. I'll just say select ID, department, and parent from departments. That finishes the declaration and the query for the CTE. Next, we just say select star from and the name of the CTE. Highlight that, and we run it, and you can see we get very similar results to running the basic query itself. Keeping in mind, when you look at the CTE here, the CTE starts with the with statement. It has a name, in this case department CTE, We declare the three columns that are going to be returned by the common table expression. We have the as keyword, open parentheses, a select statement, close parentheses, and then the select statement that actually runs the CTE. That's all it takes to set up a basic CTE. If you want to learn more about CTEs, take a look at the CTE book at Amazon.com or at joestopros.com. The title is SQL Server Common Table Expressions, and it covers everything you'd ever want to know about common table expressions. For more information, you can visit my website at stevestedman.com or follow me on Twitter at SQLEMT. Thanks, and have a great day.